I actually think there's a lot of creativity that goes into math. Like,
What?
no
Get
joke.
out of here. Explain
Yeah,
yourself.
because I think that like the whole like once you get into the ideas of research, it's more about like 10,000 things don't work, right? Like there's like 10,000 ways to tell a joke, and only like one of them really hits, or like a few of them really hit. And I
Right.
think in that sense, like I think there's a lot of creativity that also goes into like research and like computer science and
Oh,
math.
okay. Yeah.
And so I think in that sense, it's kind of similar, where like you fail a lot, and so
Okay.
Dystopia tonight.
Fuck out of town! Fucking treasonous pieces of shit!
Dystopia tonight.
Hi,
hi,
Emily. Hey.
hi, it's good to see you guys. I
Good to
was
see you
gonna
too.
say I love that. I wish too that I knew when I wasn't gonna do anything in a day, so I really felt that when you said it.
Isn't that the word where you're like, if I just knew that nothing was going to get done, I could have really enjoyed sitting on my ass.
Yeah, I'm like go get a massage, like give myself one.
Yes.
So
Embrace it.
good.
Embrace
Yeah.
the nothing.
Yeah. Instead, I just racked my fucking brain all day. I was like, oh my God, this should get done. And oh, I should really do this. And I don't know. I blinked and that was it. It was over. Are you
I
like a
definitely
type? What do they call it? Like a type A, like somebody who like is super organized, knows how to get shit done.
I think I used to be.
Oh, nice.
And I think as I've gotten older, it's
Yeah.
I'm just so I was talking to a friend today, and I was just like I'm just so much more relaxed now, because you realize
Mm.
very few things matter. So you're like, I'm sorry, that's very existential to say.
No, that's so great. That's exactly what we're looking for. It's so true. It really does. Like there's stuff I'll talk myself out of because I'm like, if I do, especially like career wise, I'm like, oh, if I do this, like that'll be beneficial to my career. And then I'll think about every other time I felt that way and like how it didn't really do anything. And I'm like, fuck it, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like even like showing other people, like if like that kind of thing where you're like trying to win somebody over or impress somebody who could actually get you work or money or whatever the hell it is. And you're like, oh, if I'm on time. And then you realize none of it fucking matters because if they're in a bad mood, it's all over anyway.
yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, the science shows. Sorry, I'm a scientist, but
Mm-hmm.
it shows that like when people go through either really good things or like really sad things, like your happiness pretty much remains the same. So like
Wow.
a couple years down the line, yeah. So there's absolutely no difference whether like you become a quadriplegic or like get married like two
Wow.
years down the road.
I
Wow.
Probably be at the exact
100%.
same
I
place.
100% believe
So
that your happiness doesn't change when you get married. That actually makes
yeah,
total fucking sense to me.
I've never been married, so I can't
Me
confirm
neither.
nor
That's great. Let's do it. Let's get it.
right now. Sign the
Let's just
papers.
right exactly. I've always thought about doing that just because I was like it'd be great to have the money that people waste when they get married. You know what I mean? Like when they're like they get all that fucking money for no reason. Like parents are taking out second and third mortgages to pay for the wedding, and I'm just like, just give it. Like we'll all just take the cash and
Just elope and collect.
yeah.
That's it.
Do you collect when when you elope, or is that cheating?
I I don't know. I've never eloped either, so I guess
I'm
that's
telling you, let's go. Just kidding. This is my pitch. Yeah, it is, and it's interesting that you said that about the happiness thing, though, because I always kind of wonder, like, is happiness supposed to be is it really just a state of mind, and you're like any other feeling, it's one way or the other, no matter what? Because there's like bad shit's happened, and I feel like I've remained relatively like emotionally the same. Like when some shitty happens,
yeah.
and you're like, I don't know why, but I feel great. You're like, this should be the worst day of my life, but I'm actually doing pretty
Yeah.
good mentally.
Yeah, I think it's like I think it also makes you reflect, a little. But like
Yeah.
things you're like at least this other thing didn't happen.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there is that. So
That's a good point too. Yeah, there was like I wasn't I remember being in school and like not being the greatest student, but also like I was just like always like one of those people who handed in everything late, like knew the assignment but still handed in shit late. And then, but I also remember not doing that well or whatever in certain subjects, and then also it didn't affect my happiness, and that would make me worried, because I would be like, I should really feel bad about this, but also I'm gonna go out and play today, or like I'm gonna hang out. Like I don't know.
I can't see Emily having the same experience. She's
no,
in
I
MIT.
can't see it either. Yeah.
There's no way.
She actually looked disappointed at me as I was saying it. I was like, I wasn't, and she was like,
hurt her heart.
She was like, I knew you were a piece of shit, John.
I want to know, Emily, like, all right, so what did you first start studying for, and what were your goals? And now have they altered? Like now that you've embraced comedy, like, is it more, have you taken a totally different path, or are you still, is it comedy on the side and career oriented?
Well, so I'm a second year PhD student, in computer science. Like, did you want to know when I started studying? Is that like...
Well, like, yeah, like when did you, so you're going towards computer science. Do you find like a passion in it or a love for it? Or was it something that you were just like, I'm good at this?
I think so. I actually started off doing math.
Okay.
So I was an undergrad at MIT. So I studied math and computer science. And I started doing math, actually. It's kind of a funny story. So I started doing math out of spite. So the story is that I was in 6th grade and we had like a math team, and my 6th grade math teacher told me that I couldn't make it because I was a girl. And so I was like, we're going to prove this man wrong, you know? And so that's when I started studying. And then I was like, I ended up at MIT and I was like, oh shit. Like, really...
That's intense.
Yeah.
Right.
See, and when I said I wasn't good, like I'm horrible in math. Like I was a terrible math student, and that's the thing I thought I should feel bad about. And I just didn't. I was like, I don't think I'm ever really, like, I always admired, like, one of my roommates, one of my best friends is a mathematician, and his girlfriend's a mathematician. And it's like fucking magic to me. Like, I'm always amazed by people who can do that kind of stuff, whatever it is, crunch numbers, or I think they do computer programming or whatever and stuff. And I always think it's like wizard shit. Like, I don't get it, but I'm amazed when people can do it. That was just a terrible math student. I feel like I'm confessing to you, and I just want you to absolve me. You're like,
you're absolved of your sin.
Our Father who art in calculus.
Tangents be thy name.
Yeah. Equations be thy game. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. But that's kind of, I like the juxtaposition, because I feel like I don't know a lot of people who in your position who decide to also do comedy and are also funny. And I've watched your stuff, and you're really funny, and you were great on our charity stream that we did when you came on. That was fucking awesome. That was the first time I think I met you. And but do you find like right brain, left brain shit happening all the time, like creative side versus like, you know, trying to do math stuff?
I actually think there's a lot of creativity that goes into math. Like,
what?
No joke.
Get out of here. Explain yourself.
Because I think that like the whole, like, once you get into the ideas of research, it's more about like 10,000 things don't work, right? Like there's like 10,000 ways to tell a joke, and only like one of them really hits, or like a few of them really hit. Right. And I think in that sense, like, I think there's a lot of creativity that also goes into like research and like computer science and math.
Okay.
And so I think in that sense, it's kind of similar, where like you fail a lot, and so you figure things out. I think I started comedy when I was an undergrad. Mostly, like, I took a comedy class at Boston Improv, just for fun.
That's a great place. It's closed down,
fun.
Right?
It's closed down now, unfortunately. But I did like a couple. It was really fun, yeah. And they have like a whole community going on there.
Such nice people,
Yeah, super, super nice people. And I think it was just, I think I signed up mostly because I was like thinking about all the things that I wanted to like try in my lifetime, and I was like, I want to go on a stage and have people laugh at me. Like, that's an experience I really want to have. And so
And was that your
sorry.
first time on stage? Is it Boston Improv?
Yeah, it was with Boston Improv.
That's so cool.
So
what a great place to do it.
2018. Yeah. And then I stopped doing it for like a year and a half, and I recently picked it back up over the pandemic.
What made you stop?
I moved to Chicago for a little bit to work, and then I think it was just like, it's harder when you like know fewer people like this. Like comedy is such a networking thing. And like everyone I knew was in Boston, and so it was like a lot. And I was like starting a new job for a little bit, and then when I came back to Boston, pretty much like the pandemic happened, and I didn't even realize that comedy had gone online until kind of in the middle.
I don't think anybody really wanted it to go online, so we were all keeping it a secret. And like, it's okay, it's fine. we're not really doing it. Chicago's I done stand up out in Chicago or whatever, and I feel like it's just miserable to do anything in Chicago because of how fucking brutally cold. Like we should all be like just tardigrades, where like you're just going to that stasis where you're just cold, floating through space until you get to a nice warm area. Because I remember like walking. My girlfriend at the time she was going to law school in Chicago, so it was super convenient for me to do gigs there or whatever. And then I used to do the Laugh Factory in Chicago, and she lived not too far away. And I remember like a moron thinking I could walk to one of the gigs in the winter, and I was just like, I always have my fucking leather jacket on, which is not winter attire, but you know what I mean. So I'm like I was like frozen by the time I got there. I was like, I fucking hate this place. I hate this place. I couldn't stand it, but I'm sure they have great food, though. I feel like I have to say something nice. I'm like, the food.
You don't
Chicago's
have to.
Listening.
Yeah, no, not because of you. Just I know Chicago's like, oh, it's all right. Garbage pizza though, but so that's cool. So you did Boston Improv, which is a great place because like I feel like even not only are like the community you're talking about there is like cool, but the people that come to see the shows there are genuine comedy fans.
Yeah.
Like they really, I've never had a bad show at that place, and I was like, God, I wish this was fucking closer because they were so good. Have you ever done the Comedy Studio?
I have not yet. It's on my. I did an online comedy studio.
Oh, nice.
Open mic, or a couple of them actually. But
Rick Jenkins, I fucking love the Comedy Studio.
Yeah, I need to go in person. I feel like it's
Yeah, that's a good time to do it. What were you like growing up? Were you like a comedy fan at all, or is it something that developed later?
I think I became more of a comedy fan once I started doing comedy. Like I think it makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I watched like Netflix specials prior, like kind of.
To kind of like
general comedy.
Get pumped up for it. Okay.
Yeah, and then I started watching like more YouTube videos of like different comics.
Yeah.
Because I think watching comedy is what kind of like inspires me to start writing.
Nice.
Because like it's like watching other people do work. It's like I should be doing that right now. So.
Yeah, yet I've never thought about that. Like driving by a construction site, I'm like, that looks brutal. I don't ever want to do that. Those men look tired. But yeah, no, I know that is so funny though. That is kind of weird how like comedy and anything like that looks great. You're like, I totally want to fucking do that. That's the kind of hard work I want to do. Did you get to like kind of like plan your stuff? Like, I don't know so Boston Improv, I mean, were they stand-up oriented there or like more? Because I don't know too much about like what their schooling was there.
Yeah, so I took a stand-up class, and then they had stand-up shows, I think, like every Wednesday or something.
Nice.
So
okay, cool.
You could like go in the evenings, and then there were like regulars, and so you got to know comics. And, like,
that's awesome.
Even audience members who just came, which was really nice.
Oh yeah, you'd see the same people.
Yeah, you do. I think I like seeing the same people because sometimes it's the same jokes, but sometimes it gets funnier every time. You're like,
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get those fans though, who are like, I wonder how she's gonna tell it or where she's gonna put it, or
Yeah.
That's actually pretty sweet. Was anybody that you kind of emulated in the beginning? Anybody that you really kind of stuck to and liked?
I feel like there's comics who I think are really funny, or like who make me laugh out loud. And I think I've always kind of tried to I found Joe Coy really funny.
Joe Coy's fucking hilarious.
Like his like mom jokes.
Oh my God.
I can't do an Asian accent, like unless I'm speaking to my parents. Like I tried it.
Well, they're here.
It comes out Hispanic for some reason, and then it's just rude, so I can't like.
Wow.
I've never been able to do impressions.
That's so bizarre. I had a buddy of mine who could not do. He's just a dumb white guy, but he could not do. He could not do accents like at all. Like we would look like. We'd be like, I don't know. We'd be like, Ken, do an Irish accent, and instead of being like top of the morning to you, he'd be like top of the morning to you, and we'd be like, that is not. Like, I don't know why you are getting those. Like he could not. Like every other accent was different. English came out Southern, and I was like, I think you have like a brain thing. Like I don't know how you're hearing these things, but it's not working, man. It was hilarious. But yeah, that's so funny. Joe Coy's amazing though, and he's super nice, and he's also dating Chelsea Handler. I just read.
Really?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Little gossip for the show.
Yeah.
He's dating Chelsea Handler, which is I didn't even. It's weird when you see people that you don't know each other. Like I'm just like, oh, I would have never put those two together, like ever. But
I've heard that John Mulaney and Olivia Munn. That's the closest to the gossip that I've.
That is the god. Let me tell you right now, that's the fucking dream right there. Like that's like I don't know how. Like I'm looking into how to get into drugs so I can go to rehab, pop out, and then hopefully get an Olivia Munn type pregnant. Like that's I don't even want kids, but like I feel like those are good goals.
Just so she has to talk to you for at least 18 years. I get
it. That's my long con is what we call that. Oh man. Yeah, that's fucking wild. But yeah, that was like, what do you think about that kind of shit? Like I'm going to keep saying as a scientist, because you are a scientist, and I get to know. I get it. Listen, you said it. You said I'm a scientist, and I was like, this is going to be fucking great, because I didn't want to like throw that out there, but this is awesome. But like, what do you think about that fucking parasocial relationship shit that's going on, like between like celebrity? I mean, it's always been like that to a certain extent, but like, I feel like when John Mulaney left his wife, the internet lost their fucking minds and like wanted his head and Olivia's head. Like, it's insane.
I'm not a social science. Yeah, I mean, I think it was like I can at least confirm that the MIT PhD students also know about this drama. So it's spread far.
It's just crazy to me that like I don't understand it. Like I feel like, you know, the internet's just gone to like it's just the internet. I feel like it should be its own country, you know, like its own world, whatever it is, because nothing that happens there makes any fucking sense. And every time we try to take what's going on there and apply it to real world shit, people lose their jobs, they die, you know, like I don't know what, but it doesn't work. Like I feel like it should be a whole other dimension where, you know, nobody really knows each other's names, and nobody knows if they're real or they're AI or if it's a bot, you know, like it should, you know, be like a secret Mario level in a game.
All right, I have a question for Emily. Sorry.
Tom's like, all right, enough of this shit. Whenever John's trying to drag her into some public dispute before her career takes off.
Right, you try to get Emily
genuinely curious. I don't know. I want to know about what people think about other shit. That's fine. We'll do it. It's fine. Tom's gonna go, and then I'll ask you about cereal.
Okay, sounds perfect.
Like, what do you think of the Lucky Charms guy? Is he gay? No. I think he's pan.
Me too.
Fine.
So,
The whole
since
rainbow.
right, the rainbow.
The rainbow.
Exactly. There we go. Now we're getting it away. All right, Tom, your turn.
Thank you. So since you're so math oriented, and I believe like most things in life do have like an algorithm to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like that you find that when you break down comedy, you're trying to find like that same algorithm, like how to make it hit, or even on your social media, like it's all about like finding like why certain things trend in a certain direction and then join those waves? Do you try to utilize your technical skill that you've learned in school with this totally separate skill, but also I think it breaks down where they overlap a bit?
I think so. I mean, I think this is like it's kind of comedy related, but like I think in life in general, I think in a sense, I feel like everyone has different things they consider when they make decisions. And I think for me, a lot of that is like, it's like, what are you trying to like maximize for? What are you trying to minimize for? And I think that's something I've thought about a lot. And I think in general, like the reason why I decided to go to grad school was because I think that, and I feel like a lot of people go because they like want to be a professor, or like there's like a very particular thing that they're aiming towards. Like I really want to research this one particular thing. And I think for me, like I really like computer science. I think it's fascinating, and I think there's a lot of like it's going to keep growing. The internet's going to keep growing, but I think
not if I can help it. I'm just
shut the whole thing down.
I'm working. You see, like there's an EMP in the background. I'm working.
But I think for me, I like try to minimize the amount of regret that I have in terms of like when I'm making decisions. If that makes sense. So I think. And so I think partially, like, that's why I started comedy. It's kind of why I went to grad school. And I do think that it is interesting to, like, I know that, like, people make a bunch of, like, these TikToks where they try to analyze, like, how well things do in comparison to other things. And I find those fascinating. I haven't really done that much on my own social media accounts, but I think, like, finding patterns in, like, life.
Do you know what GTO is? Game Theory Optimal, or no?
Is that like a Nash equilibrium for?
Game Theory Optimal just means you make the best possible decision in the situation. So it's almost like what you're talking about. I only really know of it because a lot of poker players try to play Game Theory Optimal. So when it comes to game theory, you want to make, if you ran something 100,000 times, what's the best possible decision to make during those outcomes by running all the different scenarios? And it's almost like you live by that. Like you're like, I'm doing this because I want to minimize my amount of regret in the future, which I think is amazing. That's a very like analytical way to look at decision making.
A little bit, yeah, I think so. But I mean, obviously, like not on a day-to-day basis. I'm like, what am I going to regret when I eat cereal for breakfast? Cookie jar?
See how she brought it right back around to cereal? So here's my thing. No, I'm just kidding. I really wish I had something, but I don't. I don't know out there. Let's see, you have 3 favorite brands. That is cool, though. I feel like that's such a unique perspective to have, though, like going out into comedy. Does it like alleviate? Are you just having fun doing stand-up, or have you gotten into the point where you're like trying to figure out how to pave your way into a career with it? Because I feel like that's sometimes like if you don't have anything else that on the back burner, which I feel like a lot of people don't, and you're trying to move ahead in stand-up, I've seen a lot of people get like kind of really frustrated with the game, you know what I mean? Like the business side of it. Does that not worry you? And you're just like, fuck it, I'm just telling jokes, and I'm also a super genius on the side, so I don't have to worry about shit. Like I feel like that's a nice like light way to approach it.
I feel like I was talking to a comedian once. They were telling me that like if you don't hate comedy once a week, like you're not doing it right.
Oh, fuck that shit.
I don't know. I think I've just not been doing it right, because I feel like whenever I think I do. I mean, I started it for enjoyment. I feel like I continue it because I really like the people I meet. Yeah. I really like making people laugh. That's why I started doing it in the first place. And so
hold on to that shit, because that like
maybe,
you know,
yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I feel like there's fucking comedians that you'll meet that are super bitter, or they're just whoever they are naturally, who are like, they have like these rules, and I'm like, I think those are just your rules, dude. Like, I don't like, I think everybody else is having a good time. Like, I remember, you know, guys telling me dumb shit about like when to start with, you know, your first bit, you know, your best bit goes last, and your opener is the weak, and you're just like, how about you just fucking do whatever you got to do, and I'll do whatever I have to do. And, you know, like if it's working, it's working. If it's not, I used to have people tell me not to like improvise, like, or kind of like riff with the audience or anything like that in the beginning when I started. And then I realized that it's only because they couldn't. So they were like, I'm not fucking, like, that's annoying. They're like, I have these really dumb Italian couch jokes, and I'm going to tell them like, and I'd be like, you do you, buddy. You tell your Italian couch jokes. I'm going to play. But it is kind of funny that you like, I feel like I got yelled at one time when I was younger for not wearing a watch. And the guy was like really upset. We were like doing those road gig together, and he was just like, how are you supposed to tell when I get off stage? And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a you problem. I didn't know that was my responsibility, but apparently, like, it's so dumb. That's so great though that you're just like doing it and having fun. Was your first time on stage? Would you say it was like you did well or not well?
I feel like every time I go on stage, I feel like some things go well and some things don't go well, and then you just like learn from it for the next time almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the best advice I got from Boston Improv, and it was like, I feel like I've heard it a lot more times, but like I record myself every time I go up,
yeah.
and sometimes you listen back. I'll listen back on the walk home, and I'm like, sometimes I'll listen to myself and I cringe a little bit because I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it is brutal when I fucking hated listening to myself. Still do for the most part, but like when you're starting out doing stand up, I fucking hated it. I was like, I can't figure it out, like what I'm supposed to do with this information. Like I just didn't want to do it. And then I don't know. And then you just get numb to it. And then you're just like, oh, cut this here, put that there, throw it up online. That's a good clip. Send this out to a booker. Like you just it's almost like you're watching somebody else who you kind of slightly hate and should probably see therapist for. And then, but yeah, you'll figure it. But that's the best piece of advice, because you never know when you're going to ad lib something, or if you have just a fucking amazing set and you crush, and then you're like, this is the staple, or to send out. I remember my first gig, I did really well, and then I thought I was hot shit, and then I did a second gig, and I fucking ate a dick on set. Like I bombed so goddamn hard, and I was like, oh, this doesn't feel good at all.
John was like, that crowd sucked. I'm great.
I fucking wish I had that mentality. That'd be great. It's so much easier when you're doing it for like a long time, because you can tell when it's you, and you also you not only can tell when it's you, but you also don't care. Because you're like, oh, I ate something weird and I don't feel great, and then you go do a set and then you fucking suck, and then you're like, that was totally me, and you don't feel bad about it at all. You're like, yeah, those 200 people can just whatever, just eat it. But then when it's them, it's like, I don't know. It's like it's 10 times worse, because you're just like, these fucking scumbags came out to my show and had the audacity. Yeah. That's
Emily, do you got a like a story where it was a really rough one? Do you have a hell gig?
Do I have a hell gig? I feel like Zoom shows are always a little awkward.
Zoom shows are all hell gigs.
There was one, this was kind of recently. I was at the Burbank Comedy Festival,
nice.
And my dog just starts like barking in the background, and I'm making a dog eating joke at like that. And it's not.
That's great. Did you get to fly out there, or did you Zoom?
I just Zoomed.
That's cool. Are they're doing pretty good, I think, with their COVID shit. How's Boston handling all that?
I think it's going pretty well. I think in the summer, I know Comedy Studio had a lot of online stuff, and they've recently moved back to in person.
Oh wow, okay.
Or like COVID in general, or like comedy COVID.
Comedy code. Well, put your science hat back on again, even though this is not your field. Hit me with some COVID. No, like COVID and comedy. Like, are they slowly are they doing the vax passports and stuff? Which I hope.
I think some, yeah. So
cool.
At like the shows that I'm going to soon, they're all like, I have to prove that I'm vaccinated, which is
nice.
So, yeah, is New York doing that, or New Jersey?
New York is doing that. New Jersey doesn't know what's going on. New York is doing that. New Jersey is we're electing our governor, so he's checked out until he can start governing again, because basically he doesn't want to upset any of the fucking morons that are killing us slowly. Even though they're not going to vote for him anyway. I don't understand the mentality behind it, but yeah, New Jersey's not doing it. New Jersey, I don't know. I was just talking to another club owner that I know, and I won't mention the name, Tom, don't worry. Nice. But I'm usually just burning bridges left and right. I'm like, this fucking club. But they, I don't know. They like, people got COVID there recently, And but they were like, yeah, we were doing everything we could, and I was like, oh, well, were you guys wearing masks? And then like, well, yeah, when we were seating the audience, and then I was like, but afterward, or like, was the audience wearing masks? They were like, no, and I'm like, well, that's not that's not how any of that works.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Now New Jersey's not doing shit.
I was like,
Yeah, I went to Laugh Boston and everyone was wearing masks, which is good.
Nice.
But I appreciate your posts online too. I feel like it's good because I feel like there's so many people who are so vocal from like the opposite side.
yeah.
Thank you.
Don't make any sense, and I think it's
Yeah, I don't understand those people either. The best part about it is like half of them are like, I'm not gonna perform in any clubs that are forcing vax passports, and I'm like, you're not passed in any clubs that are enforcing vax passports. So I feel like it's a win-win. Like, yeah, how are you losing here? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's definitely like the post-COVID side of me, where I feel like what you said in the beginning of the show is nothing matters. And that's just kind of how I feel. Like, I don't like, half of these people, like the Jim Brewer, like I just did an interview, I don't know, with some newspaper in the area. I should probably know what, but about Jim Brewer, because this fucking moron is going out, he's getting all the attention. He's such a piece of shit. And that's the thing but like, I know, like, I don't know that pre-COVID me would have said anything, because it's like, oh, it's Jim Brewer. Maybe he'll let you open for him or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that is ever going to be a thing. And then or you might have to run into him. And now I'm just like, fuck him. I don't want to, and I don't care. And, it's just insane to me now.
So we're not having Goat Boy on Dystopia tonight.
No, I'll have him on as long as he's willing to talk about his bullshit. That's fine. But I don't think he's going to want to do that at all. We should invite him on, see what happens.
He'll probably talk about his rights are being taken away.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, how about your wife's rights? Who's like whatever, compromised. Like, his wife has like a million things wrong with her, and he's like, I want to perform at clubs where people aren't wearing masks. And I'm like, you can just divorce her. You know that, right? You don't have to fucking give her COVID. You don't want her around anymore. She could still live. Can we clip that? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's just not happy in his marriage.
Yeah, I guess. I'm like, what is your deal, dude? Like, yeah, I don't
brutal.
know.
Brutal way to take care of that situation. I'm sorry.
Right. That's fine though, because we talked a little bit about, I feel like it's full circle, because we talked about marriage, getting married, extorting people for their money for a fake marriage, and now we're talking about getting out of one. Yes. It's full circle. Is there any place? So you've gone to New York to do shows before though, right? I feel like, or no?
I actually haven't. I want to.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you got to come out.
I would love to.
Is there any place that you really like? Are you a fan of like certain clubs, stuff like that, places that you're looking to get into? I don't know what too many other than the Comedy Studio, Laugh Boston, and Improv Boston out there, but there's a few other clubs, right?
There are. I feel like there's mostly like bar gigs is what I've been invited to most recently.
Nice.
Like
yeah.
Bar and restaurant gigs.
Do you know Alex Giampapa?
No, I don't.
Oh, I'll have to get you guys together. He's a comic down there who runs a bunch of shows. He's a great fucking dude. And he just went viral, oddly enough, for tweeting about NFTs. And then he made that tweet an NFT, and I thought that was fucking genius.
Wow, that is smart. That's fun.
Yeah, it's really fucking smart. But yeah, is there a club over there that like you're looking to get into, or like anywhere else that somebody that you really want to perform?
I think the next will probably be Comedy Studio. I think I've done some open mics with them, and so I think
cool.
Know like Peter and some other people out there, and so I think that's probably and then I would love to do a show with Laugh Boston, but I feel like
yeah, that's a great one too.
So, yeah.
I know I'm gonna, when I do the Comedy Studio, I'll see if I can ask Rick, because I'm gonna go out to Boston. I think it's gonna be in December. I swear to God, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not even that religious. Like, I just love the whole fucking, it just looks like Santa exploded in the middle of Cambridge.
Yeah, it does.
Just decorations, and everyone's super drunk and nice, and yeah, it's great. It's so weird, but I love it.
You should let me know when you're in Boston.
I will.
It's like the one time of year Massachusetts people are nice. right? Like massholes. So it's a good time to visit.
Oh, awesome. What do I have such fond memories of Boston then? Everyone's like, you really like Boston that much? I'm like, yeah, it's great. Why? Yeah, was gonna say the scene over there is kind of cool because it's like I feel like Boston comics are like everyone thinks I don't know too much. Like people say Boston's like super racist, right? Like that's like the vibe that people get, but I feel like they're not. I feel like they seem like conservative, like they're like tougher liberals. Does that make any sense? Or like I think I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like I've
I think there's
heard
different Bostons though too. There's like the Wahlberg
Southie
family type of Boston. Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
And
That
then
like
there's
Goodwill Hunting Boston, and then
yes.
But dude, I remember this one comic. I don't know who it was, but he had this great joke where he was like, you know, people think we're super like anti or like homophobic or whatever, but that's not it. He's like, sometimes we still use the words we're not supposed to. I think he was basically like, yeah, my brother's getting gay married. You know, these two fags in love, whatever the hell it was. But he meant it from like his heart. He's like, but that comes from the heart. Do you understand? And it was so. And I was like, that's such a funny fucking way to put it. Like they don't know not to say it, but they mean it in the best sense possible. Like
Nicest
that's
way
what
possible.
I feel like Boston is. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, I agree. I think tough liberal is like the perfect way to describe Boston. I mean, I've been to Texas, so we're definitely liberal.
Did you stand up?
No, not to do, just to visit for a
Just to
friend's
visit?
wedding.
You're like, as a dare.
I landed and then I took that.
yeah. You got
That's
off
enough.
and you're like, oh shit. I have not. I've only driven through Texas. I haven't been out there to do a gig yet. I was supposed to be in Texas 2 years in a row, and I had to cancel because of COVID.
Wow.
And,
have you traveled to yet for stand-up during the pandemic? Or?
No, I haven't gone anywhere. I mean, I've gone like I've been going into New York, and I did like a couple local gigs here and there that were like good about their COVID restrictions and shit. But I haven't gotten on a plane yet.
I haven't either.
I'd like to go to California. Is where I think that's where I'm going to wind up, if anything, going next. Well, I have a gig in Vegas, and headlining in Vegas on January 29th. So I think that's going to be, thanks. Yeah. I think that's going to be my big, like, you know, hopefully everything will calm down by then, or, you know, I'll die on a plane, whatever happens. Of COVID, not the pilots are great.
Not a surprise crash.
Yeah. Have you been out to Cali?
Not recently. I think the only flights I've taken I'm from the Midwest originally, and so.
Oh, nice. Where are you from?
Yeah. So I'm from like Chicagoland area.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So like the suburbs though, not the city.
Oh, okay. Not the city.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So, just as cold, slightly worse food. So.
I like how she has to dumb it down for me. She's like, just how you were saying it before. He only understands weather and food, John. He's he's not good with anything else. It's so true though. You're perfect. Yeah. Have you gone like when you were traveling to Texas during the pandemic, did you notice like a change in like the mentality, or was it weird?
I wasn't in Texas during the pandemic,
but
I have some friends who are down there. And I think the mentality is definitely like, I think this was like prior to any vaccines coming out. She said like people were still having hoedowns or whatever you do in Texas. Like, you dance with every other person there.
Right. I think that's how they speed date there. But yeah.
Yeah. It's like unmasked hoedowns. Like you can't.
Wow.
I guess you can't date with masks on. So.
No. Oh my God, that's fucked up. I didn't realize that. I know that like the only thing I know from Texas is like the mass amount of comics that have moved there recently as like a safe haven, and it's always like, you know, I don't know, they're just like the slightly right wingish kind of comedians.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you guys go wherever you need to go, to wherever your safe space is.
Fair.
Yeah. Is there anybody that you'd like to like, have you opened for anybody like yet at like, see anybody pass through Boston that's been like huge?
No, I haven't opened for anyone. I saw Alex Moffat like
a few
weeks ago, who like he was at Laugh Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. have I seen anyone else? I was going to see Eliza Schillinger, but then her show got postponed. And I know John Mulaney was in town like a couple weeks ago. So.
That's awesome. His new fucking shit is supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet. I need to. It was like tickets sold out immediately or something. He did 17 shows. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. But his apparently like, and I was like, I've been kind of like looking online for like people who've like taken their phones out and shit, but none of that seems to be. They make everybody collect their phones in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what they told. Like they like put them all in bags at the end or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. Which is like one of those things that I think in the beginning I was like, yeah, fuck that. They can't record a set, and now I'm like, will someone record his set so I can see what I'm missing by not being out there?
Has he been to New York? I thought that was recently, or...
I don't know if he did go. I missed it because I know he was out. I think he was in DC, and I think I remember hearing he was out in Boston and stuff. I don't know if he did New York. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's only like a few comics that I would like go out of my way, I think, to see, and he's definitely one of them.
I think I also saw Gavin Matz recently.
Oh, nice.
Online, because like one of my close friends is a really big fan.
Oh, cool.
He's hilarious. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is this something that you want to keep doing? Like, do you like the writing or the performing more, or do you want to keep doing stand up? Like, what's your like, end game or 5-year plan?
Yeah, I like both. I think. Well, my 5-year plan is to graduate first.
Okay.
Survive and then graduate.
Listen, nobody's impressed you go to school.
I'm not. I'm like, I'm in 18th grade now at this point. It's too long. I'm going to make it into double digits.
Yeah. It's comedy. That'd be so sad if comedy was actually slowing your progress down.
I think it's like a good break. It's like I think I started comedy because I also wanted to, I think it was a good mental reminder that there's like life outside of college bubbles.
That's a very good point, because I feel like a lot of people, like one of the things I've tried to do consciously is make sure that I have a life outside of comedy and stand up.
Yeah.
And like, that's one of the main reasons at the very beginning I didn't want to move to New York, because I was living out on my own when I was like, I don't know, 21, 22. And I like had a sweet apartment and had all this group of friends and like a nice social network. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just drive in. Cause like, I think if I'm immersed in it, I'll fucking hate it.
Yeah. I think it's true. Like if you spend too long doing something and you're like stuck in it, you forgot why you liked it in the first place.
Yes, so, absolutely. Yeah. It's nice hanging out with normal people once in a while, right?
Yeah. Really? Are comics normal people?
No. I meant like for us to hang out with like regular people. Like when you hang out with I guess you have two groups of weird people though, because I don't think computer scientists are particularly probably normal either, right?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Computer scientists tend to be pretty. It's like, I think that's also why I learned how to tell stories, right? Because I think it was me and a bunch of nerdy guys, and it's like, gotta make friends somehow. Like get past the cootie stage. So.
That's so great. I love that you're like, I'm just about a bunch of nerdy dudes and I don't know how to communicate with them. It's terrible.
But everyone likes to laugh.
That's true. I like that you broke through with comedy, like talking to dudes. That's pretty great. Normally it's the exact, like, no, I feel like the only reason why men do anything is to impress women. So
yeah.
Like, I don't think I would have learned how to read if I didn't think like this girl was cute and I wanted to know how to write her a note in class. I was like, fuck, I got to start paying attention and spelling, because whatever I'm passing to her now, it doesn't seem to be working. She thinks I'm retarded. I don't know what's going on. Like 4 years old. Pressure's on. I started young. Yeah, that's cool. What have your parents come to see you yet?
Actually no. I feel like all of my shows have been pretty late and they all go to bed at like 8 p.m. and so my parents have not. But they're a huge part of my set. So
yeah, I was wondering if like they had seen it or heard it or
yeah. They like awesome. To say they're like, I think whenever I tell them about it, like I'll
Mhm.
like tell them some of the jokes, and they're like, "Oh, so embarrassing."
That's awesome.
But
Are
yeah.
they very much like, as long as this is just a hobby and you don't quit school?
I think at this point, my mom's been like, "You're educated enough. Like, when are you gonna start thinking about getting married?"
Oh, wow. Well, tell her the good
Yeah.
news. We did it at an hour ago.
We've decided.
Yeah. Tom just did it. He's a
I'm ordained.
online ordained minister. Is that what they're
Yeah.
called? I was like, I really could not think of that. I was like, online internet?
Emily, do you?
Right now. Like, there's a little calculus book in
Just
the
say
middle.
yes.
You know what? This is how fucking stupid. When you said Emily, do you? I was like, finish the goddamn sentence, Tom. I'm like, we're pros at this point. We've been doing this for this is our 70s.
The second half of his sentence. He's like, only
I
I
really-
do that.
Completely. She would have said, yeah. I would like answer the fucking question. Did I black out? Fuck. That's hilarious. Did you like? I've never. My parents didn't give a shit whether or not I got married. I had kids. Is that like just your family in general? Do you think, or like your parents, or
I think it's also kind of like an Asian cultural thing where
Is it?
it's like, yeah, you're like supposed to work hard, like go to a good school,
Right.
study hard, and then have kids, get married, and like repeat the whole thing.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, I think
That's
it's also like a very immigrant mentality.
Right.
Would they be really upset if you brought John home?
Come on. That's such... I mean, obviously yes, but also
I mean, I've actually only brought women home, so I think my mom would have a party.
I was gonna
She
say,
Wow,
I was
there you
gonna
go.
say, we know. I'm like, I'm just pushing that's why I'm pushing the fake marriage thing, because it would just be like unexpected, throw everybody off. They would
Yeah.
naturally give money, and then she and I would split.
Yeah, take it.
Or we just do like a Three's Company thing.
Emily's mom would just be like, he's not an MIT grad, but
Yeah, I would love it if she was just like, my mom hates Italians. She watches Rocky with such disdain.
Italians from Jersey. Is he a soprano?
Oh man, that's crazy though. So they've never seen your stuff. Have your friends come out to see you?
Yeah.
Do you like it? Do you feel comfortable?
I do.
Good.
Yeah. I think like they like totally, I mean, I test my stuff out on them. They're probably my
Nice.
harshest critics. They'll like after I finish, they'll be like, I like this one more than that one, things like that, which is really yeah. But my friends come to almost like even all my online shows when I had them. Yeah.
Oh,
which
nice.
was really nice. So
Have you gotten to the point yet where you've learned to ignore your like when they tell you they don't like a joke and it's like, oh, it's because you're not a comic, but this is funny. I'll tell you why it's funny. That's a great point to get to.
yeah. That's what I tell my sister. And she's like,
Everybody's got to have somebody they start abusing with their knowledge of comedy.
yeah.
You're like, nice.
I'm
try,
like, I'm
but-
objectively hilarious. Like when I make fun of her and she hates it. I'm like, no, I'm objectively funny. Like this
Yeah.
it's a good joke.
It's crazy. You're killing me here because I like you. I think you're funny. But your level of confidence at this point is making me hate you. I don't hate you, but it is kind of funny. You're like, yeah, I love when my friends come. I'm like, who is she? Because I hated when my friend, I didn't hate it, but we had to have bringer shows in the very beginning when I started. I didn't do them for long, but when we did, I was always just like, oh, I wish I didn't have to bring people to see me fucking do this shit or like bomb or whatever.
I think I feel bad now because I usually will for shows I recycle some material and I'm like, oh, they've heard this joke 10 times at this point. But
that's great because that's what you should be doing. And the fact that you're getting used to it in front of people and not caring is the best thing you can do. Is just I don't give a shit what the audience needs. This is what I need. Never fall in love with the audience because they're always going to disappoint you. It got dark for a half a second, by the way. I was like, they're never going to love you.
I mean, we were just talking about spreading COVID instead of divorce. So
oh, that's true.
It's on
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah. We got a great theme going, I feel like, for this episode. It's like a
Nothing
death,
matters.
marriage. Yeah, nothing matters. Fake marriages, divorce. It's all good. You have a girlfriend, right?
I do, yeah.
Is she a comic too, or that's what I was getting towards?
Oh no, she's not.
Oh, she's not. Okay.
She works in TV news, so she's a
look
producer.
at you with a smart Hollywood in already. Like, you can get press coverage and all sorts of shit when you're ready. That's a good in. Not that you don't love her, but I'm also strategically, that's a nice career move.
Always thinking.
Oh, that's so great. And you're like, and I also, we're in an open relationship. I date a professor on the side. So really, I'm going to be graduating faster and moving up the comedy ladder. Oh, Tom, you're muted. Nope, you're still muted. I think Emily muted you with her mind after you said I do. Or trying to get her to say I do. She's like, yeah, you're still muted. Should we wait for him? Or is it... No. No, he's still muted. This is a fun game. Tom.
Seems like it's a really intense question.
It really does. He's like focused hard on trying to get it. He's going to text it to me in a second to ask.
Do you regret saying yes? Is that maybe that's the question.
Do I regret saying no? No, of course not. Why would I? Yeah, do you regret saying yes? That's a good point. How much do you think we'd make? I think we'd make a shit ton of money.
I agree. Like, publicize the whole thing.
Absolutely. Oh, that'd be great.
I'll get my girlfriend to put it on the news. Like old Venmo stuff.
And then they see her getting the wedding card too, and they're just like, what the fuck? And it's just like, oh, that'd be great. I think Tom is still having trouble. Tom looks in like he's in total distress. Every time I glance over, he's just like, it's so good. I love it. Well, that's awesome. I mean, I feel like, oh, he left us. That was such a quick abandonment moment. He's like, nope, and we're gone. I feel like you got a great career. I mean, you've got such a good head on your shoulders. Again, that was like one of the things I loved about like meeting you in the charity. First of all, I was like, I don't know, 24 hours like dead fucking tired anyway. But it was cool because like you have a great like personality and like head on your shoulders for all this stuff. So that's cool. And you're super funny.
I first met Mark and I thought it was just super fun, like talking with him.
Where did you meet Mark?
At Comedy Therapy. So I did a lot of their open mics.
Oh, nice.
And different things. And he was on a feedback mic, I think. And so
yeah. The Comedy Therapy group is cool too. That's why you got to come to New York.
Yeah, I think like I see them doing live shows now, and I was like, I'd love to be there. Like I actually know a lot of them now, and it's like
when do you go on like break?
We get winter breaks and things like Thanksgiving breaks. I guess technically I'm mostly just doing research now, so could probably like
what are you working on? Are you allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, so I work in machine learning healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh wow.
Essentially,
are you gonna do those robots?
I wish I could build robots. I'm so bad at like anything I have to construct, like it breaks apart immediately.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, including IKEA furniture. Like you would be surprised. But I think so it's mostly like mathematical models. So my lab works on, we are partnered with the Massachusetts Gen Hospital Infectious Disease Department.
Wow.
And so we work on essentially like looking at models of how diseases are spread within hospitals. And so like hospital associated infections, things like that.
Right.
Making risk prediction models for that. So understanding how like people transfer it like between wards, like when people become contagious.
Jesus. So what then was this like, I mean, this is kind of, I don't know, not morbid, but like when COVID hit, were you guys like inundated with new shit to do, or like how did that affect your research and stuff?
Well, we are not in need of money at the moment, which is that's the positive working in infectious diseases.
Right.
I think currently everyone's working on COVID right now, it feels like.
Right.
Like yeah, but we do have some COVID projects happening, like looking at COVID x-rays, doing risk prediction. So not diagnostics, but like trying to understand if like someone's on oxygen, like when do they deteriorate and things like that.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the one positive working in infectious diseases at the moment.
So when you're talking about that kind of stuff, how does it frustrate you and like your, peers and all that other stuff when you constantly see the misinformation going on in the news or whatever? Like, do you ever think of ways to combat it, or are you just like, it's gonna happen, like nothing we can do about it?
Yeah, I think I have a ton of friends who like work at social media sites like Facebook, Google, and things. And I think when you were talking about the lawlessness of like the online world, I feel like that's something that like especially the pandemic brought to light in a large sense.
Right.
For example, like the fact that misinformation is spread so fast, and there's like research that shows that especially like really right wing people, it's like you actually like social media sites can make you become more polarized in a
Right.
sense, which I think is so interesting because it's like this, like you feel like, and I feel like companies to this point have been like, oh, like we're not taking responsibility, we're just showing people things. Like exactly, actually, so I worked on Google Ads for a short while, and
Oh, wow.
so like as an intern when I was an undergrad, and I feel like what they do, like the whole idea is like you're trying to increase how often people click on things, right? And so and that's how you sell things. That's how these companies make money. And I
Sure.
think that in a sense, like they're absolving themselves of a lot of guilt in terms of like data collection and privacy concerns
Right.
and polarization and like politics and like things like the January 6th like organization and like
Yeah.
insurrection movement and stuff. And I feel like that's not, a lot of it is kind of inherently how these algorithms are structured. Like
So you think the
what
algorithms
are
have kind
being
of gotten
shown.
away from the people's control?
I think they should be, I think design should be thought out very carefully in terms of like what is propagated online. And maybe like the things that are prioritized right now, like making the most money by like getting people to click on the most items, maybe
Yeah.
should be like reconsidered and like restructured because it has real world consequences down the line. So,
Yeah. It's weird that we
yeah.
can see them happening now, but there's still no, I mean, as far as I know, like I don't, know too many people in like hospitals and stuff like that. But like, I always kind of wonder, like, if there's communication between these social media platforms and the people putting it out and the hospitals or the doctors and stuff like that, if it would help dissipate it, or if that's just not a realistic viewpoint where like, yeah, never going to come together because they don't want that kind of they like the disinformation kind of cycle.
Yeah, I mean, even only recently did Twitter start like labeling things as misinformation, like those
Right.
little misinformation things.
Yeah.
And like it took them such a long time to even like ban Donald Trump,
Oh
right,
my
from the
God, I know.
website.
It's crazy
So,
how often like people look for the like that's the twisted thing, because now it's like the social media they're doing that stuff where like, here's the right COVID information, here's the right whatever, and they'll put those labels down there. But
yeah.
even so, I feel like people now use that as a way to, be like, oh, here's the right art, because they put like, it's like a badge of honor,
Yeah, no, for
yeah,
sure.
it's a really weird, like, I don't know. Hey, is Tom back now?
I think I'm
Yeah.
back.
Oh, you're
Thank
back.
goodness.
We're getting into good stuff now. We're talking about because
I know.
Yeah.
I was listening. I'm always
Oh.
watching. I'm omnipotent.
I haven't met Tom in real life yet, so we're not exactly 100% sure if he's real.
It might be AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We were just talking about AI.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also interesting because there's this whole branch of AI now that's like specifically focused on ethical AI, right? Like how do you design things that are like unbiased? Like for
Wow.
example, there's a super famous paper that like showed that Microsoft facial, it was published in like 2017 or something, that showed that facial recognition technology that Microsoft was using like performed much better specifically on white men than on like Black
Yes.
women, which was like
Okay.
99.9% versus like 80 something percent, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but like if you're using that for like law enforcement or like
Yeah.
trying to get into your phone and like you can't get in because you're part of that like 14% that it just doesn't work
Yeah.
on, like I think that that's yeah, so it's about how do you like design technology that is less biased.
Exactly. Well, you know what's freaky about that
interesting.
too is I was thinking like not only for like the facial recognition stuff and the sensors, but like, you know, I think there was a story a few years ago where there was one of those cars that was, you know, driverless cars, you know, whatever. But because the sensor couldn't read the level of white on a truck, it assumed it wasn't there and it went through and killed the dude. Like it went underneath the truck. I'm thinking the same thing. If you're like, if those cameras can't pick up on certain faces and people for like cell phone stuff or facial recognition stuff, if it's a car, how is it not? If it's, isn't that the same technology? What if it doesn't fucking recognize a person crossing the road to stop? Like, how does it do that kind of shit? You know, I don't know if it's all strictly about their faces or whatever, how it identifies a human, but that's fucking terrifying.
I think there's also like ethical questions, like if you're like unable to swerve, like do you kill the driver? Like do you kill, like nobody's gonna buy a car if like
yeah, that's a good point
it's gonna
too.
kill you. So
yeah, that's a good point.
like,
Yeah,
these...
yeah, that's a good point. It's flying off a cliff or hitting cliff. Which one are you gonna do? Yeah, it's crazy. Are you involved at all with like the because I read something the other day about it, like helper robot, like aid robots, basically. Did you ever see the movie? Oh my god, it's with Frank Langella. I think it's called Frank, but he's got a little robot that because he's got Alzheimer's, and this robot like helps him like around the house, like a helper aid. And I always thought that was fascinating. It was like years ago it came out, but like, are you? But then I saw something recently, like the other day, where they were like actually talking about like aid robots for the elderly. And like they would know when to give them their pills and stuff. Are you involved in any of that?
So I'm not personally involved in any robotics, but I saw an article come out with like MIT I know a lab and I've seen the robot because like I walked past it, but it like there's one that they're teaching a robot how to like brush people's hair as like terms of aid, because I think it's like, because apparently a lot of like old people and like people who break their arms or something like can't do that.
My arms are fine, and I'm not old, and I could still use a robot to brush my hair occasionally. So that'd be great. That's wild. Are you around any of those robots that do parkour? Oh, sorry.
I have seen them outside, actually, like Boston Dynamics, those cheetah robots.
Yeah,
I've seen them online. They came out of like MIT and like Media Lab and stuff. So I've seen robots. I've seen robots do things. I personally have never. Well, I learned I was really bad at building robots, and so
you're like, I built one that killed people, and I like...
I built one that kept running into the wall, and then after that, I was like, "This is over."
That's better than I could do.
It was a really dumb robot.
It's so sad. It still exists somewhere, and it's just like, kill me. No one will turn it off. You're like, no, Emily's gonna fix you. It's gonna be fine. What's some of the craziest shit you've seen at MIT? Can you talk about any of it? If there is anything?
I think there's a team when I was an undergrad to like, if you remember the Hyperloop, that like designed like a toy Hyperloop thing. I think I mean, I feel like MIT students are known for doing like every year when the freshmen come back on campus, the undergrads build a roller coaster. So a lot of people do build things.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Which is really cool. There's an urban legend that says we were the highest producer of LSD on the East Coast for a short while. Yeah, they like had it in the bottom of a dorm, had a whole lab set up and stuff.
Wow,
that's great. And it's little do we know it's Emily, but like she's trying to throw us off. It's like, if I mention it on a podcast, it can't possibly be real. That's pretty great. What do you guys do when you're on drugs over? I mean, I can't imagine, like, what's the worst that could happen? You guys open up another portal.
I was about to say tremendously bad things. Quantum computing, John.
Smashing Adam. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can think of way worse though. That'd be so cool if something fucking crawled out of a hole from another world.
Okay,
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'm waiting. So tired of turning on the news and watching us kill each other. It'd be nice to have some weird like monster doing it. Like Reggie's
nice
like,
change
oh, that's new. Yeah, right.
John wants to go to the upside down.
I absolutely fucking do, though. I would go to space if they let me. Not like Jeff Bezos space, like real space. Like I would go. I would love to. Would you
That
go to
would
space?
be awesome.
Yeah, would you go to space if you could?
I would, 100%. Yeah.
That's great.
Even if it's Jeff Bezos' space, but like
She's like, I will sell out for Jeff Bezos space. And no, she's like, she's like, I've got a girlfriend, but you can fire me off in that dick rocket anytime you need to. It is fine. It's fine.
I'll take Richard Branson just getting out of the gravitational area. That's
his
fine.
spaceship looked cool though. Like that was pretty fucking sick. I don't know.
The people bouncing around it.
Yeah.
They seemed like they were having way too much fun.
I don't know why I trust an English guy more than a dude coming out with a cowboy hat on. Like, even though every English actor was like a villain in like, every movie, you know what I mean? Like, we said like
it's always Dr. Evil.
Yeah, something like that. But I trust him more than I trust the cowboy hat dude. The dude looking like a guy from Purdue. Chicken coming out in a cowboy hat.
I thought you meant the school.
Oh yeah. Just trashing schools on here.
Not everyone could go to MIT, John. Some of us
do you have your own interns?
My own interns? Well,
yeah,
we have like undergrads who work in our lab with us.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool.
Are those interns?
I think. Well, no, probably. Well, not yet. I mean, they might be, but like, I was wondering, like, do you have your own team and stuff? Like, are you a head of your own like team and that kind of thing?
I think mostly for grad school, like we do our own research.
Okay.
So it's like we are the interns. Like we are the slave labor.
No, that's all I wanted to get you to say. We haven't had anybody involved in slave labor on the show yet. So, well, listen, it's been an hour, and I don't want to keep you any longer, but I'm going to ask you two of our main questions that we ask every guest. You ready? Brace yourself.
Yeah.
These are
ready.
tough.
Brace yourself.
Brace yourself. First question: if you could go back in time and give your younger self a piece of advice that would help you today, what would it be?
I think it would probably be like nothing matters as much as you think it does.
Beautiful. Love it.
Because like we started with that. I think it's a good thing for me to remember when I was younger.
That's great.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, what had to end in your life for you to get you where you are now?
I feel like the thing that affected my life the most. Sorry, this is kind of morbid now that
No, go ahead.
But it's part of my stand-up set. So I actually had one of my best friends pass away when I was an undergrad.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I think it's been like, but I think having that happen, I think it's like one of those things we were talking about where like it makes you grateful for the things that you do have in a large sense. And I think the reason why I did stand up too is because I think like after like a couple of years, I was thinking about it and I was like, because you never think you're gonna die young in a sense, like it doesn't become a possibility until I guess now with COVID it's a little bit different where everyone's having like existential crises.
We all know how we're gonna die now. So
my existential crises just happened a couple of years earlier. But I think it becomes like, what things do you want to try, like, and what things do I want to do before, like, I guess you die in a sense. And so, yeah. And I think that like really makes you consider the things that matter a lot. And like, you want to do things that like, well, obviously you want to do things that you feel like matter on a grand scale, but also you want to do things that you just have fun with and like to meet people and make you happy. So.
That's a great outlook though.
Yeah.
Like that's phenomenal. I love it. I'm telling you, I wish I had some. I don't know if they bottle whatever it is that you have, but I want it.
John is definitely picking up what you're putting down.
She's got a morbidly positive energy that she's just like nothing matters with a big smile on her face, and I'm like that is the attitude we all need to have. It's fantastic.
This was super fun though. Thank you for having me. And
thanks for coming on. This was a blast.
Yeah,
I really had a good time. I hope you come back.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
Good. And get to New York. And I'll
yes,
come to Boston.
I will. Please do. Let me know if you guys are ever in Boston. I'd love to come
Absolutely.
out.
We will definitely make our way up for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you again, Emily.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure.
Dystopia tonight.